Hey everybody, Ivan Novik here, and today I'm going to do a demo of Greenplum 7 alpha version. And the demo is about how to add a new partition to a partition table. So imagine you've got a partition for every day's worth of data, and you're constantly loading data into the table, and now you want to do some maintenance and you want to add a new partition. Well, Greenplum 7 has a much cleaner locking scheme than Greenplum 6, and I'm going to show you today how you can insert a new partition into a existing table while you're continually loading data into the main table into other partitions. A Greenplum v7 here. I will log into it and do select version. Right, so this is being shown as Greenplum 7 alpha. All right, and in the test DB we have nothing. So let's get started. I'm going to have a create script. So the create script, I'm going to just walk you through the syntax here. We're going to create a sales table. It's got an integer which represents the ID of the sale. We've got a date for the sale, and we've got an amount, which is going to be a decimal that we can record the amount of the sale. It will be distributed based on the ID of the sale, and then we're going to do partitioning. We're going to partition by day. So you can see here we're partitioning from over here. We're doing the partition, and we're going to create partitions for every day from 2022 November 1st through the end of the month. And it'll be a different partition. Let's go ahead and run it. And the idea is that these are fact tables. In data warehousing terminology, these are fact tables. They're large tables that have a lot of data in each partition. And we're going to eventually roll off or delete old partitions. We're going to add new partitions as new days come in. And when you see what we've done here, you can see now we've created all these partitions. It's one per day. We'll go ahead and describe, let's say, this one. And you can see this is for November 18th. And it's got this data here, right? But like a partition table, that means you can query the main table, the sales table, but they're stored independently in these partitions. All right, so now, what is the issue? Why am I here showing you this today? Is that when you want to add a new partition. So when you want to add a new partition, there are locks taken, right? And on Greenplum 6, there are a bit more locks that are taken than on Greenplum 7 for this use case. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to begin a transaction, and on this side here we will say, for example, I want to insert into the sales table values, and we're going to say, order ID 1 with a date 2022 11 I don't know 16, and then a amount. So let's say 5523 is the amount, and this is all within a transaction here. Now if I come over here and say select star from PG locks, what you're going to see is a whole bunch of locks that are created here. Now the reason we have locks is that there are read locks, there are reading locks, right, on this that can help us to protect the integrity of the database catalog. And the trick is that we don't want this to interfere with what we're doing. And just to complete the cycle here, I'll just go ahead and commit this. And you can see over here, if I select from PG locks, that most of those locks are gone. There's still some other different locks, right? Now, the key point, again, we're going to recreate these locks. The key point is, can we add a partition while we have these locks? So there's a new syntax in Greenplum 7 that's not available in Greenplum 6. It's called attach partition. And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do create table, create a new subtable or something that will become the partition. And I make it with the same columns as the sales table. And then I say alter table sales attach partition, and say the name of the table, and then say what is the new date range for that partition. So let's go ahead and run it. And what we see is that it goes through. We'll ignore the distribution column right now. That's a different issue. And then when we come back in here and we see what tables we have, you can see the new partition is created and it did not care about those locks. So we were able to do this kind of add a new partition. It's not interfering with your daily process. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of quickly pause the recording and restart it in an instantaneous moment. All right, let's do the Greenplum 6 side of this equation. So I have my terminals up and I've reinstalled the system with Greenplum 6. And now the syntax is a little bit different in Greenplum 6, but it won't stop us from doing the demo here. So let's go ahead. We're going to do the create table for the partition. This is exactly the same syntax to create the 30-day partition by day table of sales. So let's do that. All right, and briefly, okay, we have a select query. I will run that. So this basically in Greenplum 6 is how you can see the partitions that were created from the PG partitions view. So we'll run that. So we've got the partition table. All right, and then now here's the thing. We are going to demo adding a partition, and we will do it while we are inserting data, because that's the whole issue. So let's begin a transaction over here on this terminal. Let's insert some data insert the data, and then let's go ahead and look at the add partition. So add partition, it's a little bit different syntax, right? This is not in GP7 where we have the attach partition. We're going to say add partition. And when we run that, we should see it lock or block because somebody's inserting data into the table. And that's really the whole issue, right? Is we want to be able to add a new partition or attach a new partition while we're also inserting data at the same time into, let's say, some other partition. So we'll go ahead here, commit this transaction so there's nothing else running, and then it goes through immediately. Let's do it again, but in this case we will pick a different day, and in this case what we're going to do is let's look at another Greenplum 6 syntax called exchange partition. So in this case here we're going to create a table T1, and we're not going to actually add a new partition, but let's say that we had partitions there already ready to be used and we wanted to exchange some outside of the partition hierarchy table called T1 and exchange it in and swap it with an existing partition. So in this case here, let's go ahead and run it. Exchange partition. And again, the create table went through, but when it comes up to the alter table, it's sitting and waiting, right? And so, we could wait here all day, or we could try it. Let's roll back this transaction and then bang, okay? So now we can see we have finished it. So what does it all mean? It means in summary, Greenplum 7, there's a nice flexibility there in terms of the syntax and the fact that you can do attach partition, which is a new syntax, and you can do it all day long while people are also inserting data into existing partitions. So looking forward to GP7, it's currently in alpha, but looking forward to giving it a go in production and having better partition management and maintenance on GP7.